Minutes to 9. The shortage of multi-denominational primary schools, particularly in areas like Dublin, is an ongoing concern for many parents. But what happens when such a school is set up? It's not always plain sailing. Take the example of the Dublin suburb of Firhouse. It got an Educate Together school 3 years ago. It's still in temporary prefabs and its future home is unclear. And for a second year in a row, so far, the Department of Education is restricting admission to just 28 junior infants every year. Not nearly enough, as our education correspondent Emma O'Kelly reports.
It's 2:00 at Firhouse Educate Together National School and the older children are going home. 3 years old, the school has 65 pupils from junior infants up to first class, one class of each. Demand for places is huge. For the second year running, the school wants to fill 2 junior infant classes this coming September instead of just one. But for the second year running, the Department of Education won't sanction this, so far at least. Colette Dunn is school principal.
We started last year and it was just left too long with the department. Before they got back to us, everybody had found another school. And this year we started again in October, November. We contacted the department. They said they'd get back to us, but we didn't hear anything. We emailed again in December, emailed again in February. In February they did say that they hoped to be back to us within 2 weeks, but we still haven't heard anything. So it's that waiting that you don't know. And in the meantime, we had to send letters to people saying, look, at the moment we can't offer places because we haven't heard anything from the department.
And tell me, what kind of demand, characterise the demand in this area for Educate Together education?
Our waiting list is very large. We started off with 220 on the list. We offered places to 28 children and we have one class of junior infants with 28 and we still have a core of 109 on the waiting list.
These are 109 children who want a place in this school but can't?
Yes.
Firhouse isn't the only Educate Together school to face this problem. Until several weeks ago, another Dublin multi-denominational school was in a similar bind. Strong local demand for a second junior infants class, but no approval forthcoming from the Department of Education. In that case, approval did finally come after queries from RTE News. Behind both these cases, there are capacity problems. In the case of Firhouse, temporary premises that would require an extra prefab and uncertainty still as to its future long-term home. It's frustrating for parents such as this local mother.
My daughter is due to start school in September 2016 and there's only a single stream and basically she didn't get a place because there's only one class. And I want to have the option to send her to any school that I wanted. I don't have the option. It's just shocking. It's like the Educate Togethers are like gold dust. They're very hard to get into and there should be more of them. We should have an option, the choice.
Educate Together says it's time for the Department of Education to stop its piecemeal approach to providing for multi-denominational education. It wants a proper and properly funded national strategy. Francis Fullen is now chairman of Firhouse Educate Together, but he's a former chairman of another longer established multi-denominational school. He says over the past few decades, little seems to have changed.
In Griffith Barracks, where I was involved in the board of management for many years, we were looking for maybe 15 years for a double stream school to accommodate the demand there is for this type of education. We're experiencing the same thing here, and despite various ministers telling us that they're going to make changes, the reality is I don't believe the political will is there.
Regarding Firhouse, the Department of Education told RTE News that it was considering the school's request and would respond as soon as a decision was made. Cara Behan is another Dublin parent who's pinning her hopes on 2 junior infant classes for Firhouse Educate Together.
My son James is 24 now, so 20 years ago we were in a position where we had an unbaptised child who couldn't get a place in school and we had to actually pay a fee paying school to get him a multi-denominational education. And I really would have thought that 20 years later we wouldn't be looking at that situation again. We're a tax-paying household, not that that should make any difference, but our taxes are the same as everybody else's. I don't see why our children are not entitled to what everybody else is entitled to.
Some parents in Firhouse in County Dublin, ending that report by Emma O'Kelly. It's 8 minutes to 9.
Now we're going to look at the implications of a major scientific development just announced.